the big spate of transportation funding in the late 50s, 60s, and 70s.
But you couldn't guarantee, but Congressman, I know your intentions are good, sir, but you can't guarantee to me that the money that's being allocated now through all these various systems, whether set up locally by states or the federal government, is going to its intended purpose. They used to say the same about a lockbox or Social Security. The money was raided. The fund was stolen. And I'm just saying there are a lot of people listening to this, okay? This congressman is talking about, you're talking about doubling the gas tax and acting like it's no big deal.
I didn't say it was not a big deal.
That's Earl Blumenauer, member of Congress and a big fan of bicycles, talking with Neil Cavuto on Fox Business about the congressman's plan to double the federal gasoline tax. Well, the man that plans to replace Earl Blumenauer by running against him is Attorney James Buchal. How are you doing, James? Good to have you back.
Fine, thanks.
Hey, tell me what we should make of Congressman Earl Blumenauer's proposal that simply because the gas tax hasn't been raised in quite some time, that we should now double it because people are burning less gasoline and driving fewer miles.
Well, I think it's sort of a case study in how nearly every enterprise of modern government has metastasized into some resource-sucking cancer that if you just pruned it back to its intended function, you wouldn't have to raise the taxes.
I would agree with you. And in fact, one of the questions that Cavuto asked, but he didn't get Blumenauer to answer, is where does the money go? As I understand the numbers, out of every dollar you pay in federal gasoline taxes, 41 cents goes to transit, buses and light rail, and only 59 cents goes to roads and highways. If you actually put all the money to roads and highways, you wouldn't need to double it. You'd have plenty of money.
That's true. And if you just fixed the planning process so that you didn't have everything taking 20 years to build and have 15 layers of government involved in it and so forth and so on, things wouldn't cost 10 times as much as they used to.
So I take it this will be one of the big issues as you run against Blumenauer for his seat in Congress.
Well, it may be. Maybe his proposal will be shot down and the issue will fade.
Well, but you can still remind people, this is the guy who's ready to double the amount you pay. And if I remember the math right, the federal government now already makes more money on every gallon of gasoline than the folks who manufacture the gasoline make.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. And it's one of these sinister modern bills where I think they sort of ramp it up and then they fund what the real goal is, which is to have a chip in every car that records how many miles you drive and basically monitors everything you do with your car and charges you based on that. And the idea is to raise the gas tax so high that people are squealing and they'll welcome in Big Brother, maybe. I don't know.
Well, and at that point, who does a tax fall on most heavily if you charge based on the miles? So Bill Gates gets in his car, or Paul Allen or Phil Knight gets in his car and drives 10 miles. He gets charged an amount that wouldn't even show up as a rounding error on his stock. I mean, God bless him for having made all that money, but he doesn't even notice it. Meanwhile, the man or woman who's driving to a job every day pays a fraction of his income every year that's actually measurable in gasoline taxes. It sounds like a tax that falls especially hard on those of moderate and lesser means.
Exactly. It's a regressive tax, and it's yet another savage attack on the middle class, which is just getting the life eaten out of it by all of these taxes and fees.
So what would you propose? They do say that, well, we have to have money to fix up all these roads and all. What's James Buchal's position as you run for Congress?
My position is that part of the job of Congress is to actually manage these agencies instead of just giving them whatever they want. And so if I were in Congress, I would have a hearing and I would call these people in and say, now, here, I've got a historical example for you, okay? Let's look at the Golden Gate Bridge, all right?
Yeah.
We built the Golden Gate Bridge. It's, 2.5 times as long as the Columbia River crossing. It's way up in the air, much harder to build, okay? It cost $35 million. And now if you escalate that up in today's dollars, that's $600 million. And you guys are talking $2 billion for this bridge that's half the size. What's going on here? What's different? What percentage of this is actually going to the hardworking laborers? What percentage of it is actually going for cement? And what percentage is actually going for 15 layers of consultants with their 15% secret fees and everything? We've got to fix the structure here. We can't go on just giving you more money without fixing the structure.
Do you think that we should take a look at prevailing wage, since every contractor I ever talked to say, yeah, when we're working a prevailing wage job, the salaries are 40 to 100% more expensive than they are on every private sector job?
I know they're more expensive. I don't know, sitting here today whether it's an appreciable fraction of the cost of these bridges and highways or not. I suspect it isn't.
Really?
Well, I mean, I first began to understand that something was wrong in this area when I used to commute up and down I-5.
Yeah.
And one day they just moved all the lanes a few hundred feet to the right, and there were people working on it for months and months. And then a year later they moved 100 lanes, them all to the left, and everybody was working on it. And these things are not constructed in any efficient means whatsoever. I mean, you have these people, the Chinese, they can go out and build skyscrapers in a matter of weeks. What we are doing is we are managing things in a way that seems calculated to impose the massive and most significant amount of cost. So it may be that tinkering around with the wages of the working people is that's just
You're saying build it efficiently, and you can afford to pay those wages. And I mean, you and I have both probably been through Salem when it seemed like the length of the reconstruction of I-5 was going to be the length of the average ODOT employee's career, or maybe his boss's career, if I look at it that way.
That bridge down by the coast, that bridge down to Newport, not a bridge, that section of highway down to Newport.
Yeah.
I mean, $20 million here, $20 million there. It's gotten to the point where it's criminally insane that we have all these politicians who just don't do anything except, they say they need more money. Okay, well, we'll just raise the taxes. They have got to get control of these things. So
where can people go to find your website and help out with your campaign? Because I remind people, if you're unhappy about what Obamacare has done to you, what the highways have done to you, what gas taxes and other taxes have done to you, you need to, pay attention at election time and vote for somebody who will change it.
Go to www.buchal.com, Buchal, and there's tabs on there to volunteer and sign up and all kinds of stuff.
Pleasure to have you on, James. Thanks very much.